All right, happy to have you along, my fellow Americans. I'm Sam Bushman, hard-hitting news the networks refuse to use, and no doubt starts now. We've got Heath Perkins with us. Of course, he's with our favorite gold and silver coin partner, the Rust family. They're known for freewatercoinco.com. That's right. It used to be Rust Coin and Gift, but now it's freewatercoinco.com. They do a phenomenal job, and the reason we like them is because they've been around forever. For 3 generations, the Rust family and team have been helping people understand precious metals. They've been helping people understand what to get, when. They have incredible times where they buy things and give people deals, discounts, and more. For example, I know they had the nickels for a long time, silver nickels. Most people I talked to didn't even know there were silver nickels, but they were at an incredible buy, and Brian got tons of them, and so we kind of helped with that. So those nickels were a great deal, but they watch for excellent deals and more. Heath, welcome back to Liberty Roundtable Live, sir.
Thank you, Sam. It's good to be back.
All right, catch me up. What's going on? Is it still as busy as it's been?
Yes, still as busy. Still playing catch up with the market dropping a bit, having a bit of a pullback. A lot of people coming in buying, kind of catching in the dip. So taking advantage of that right now. So which is good. But yeah, it's been a little bit of a wild ride since last October to now.
Now, help me understand kind of why the pullback. And I'm going to give my kind of thoughts for a quick second, and then you can kind of help further break it down. Because because oil is way up, then it actually helps the dollar right now. It's temporary if they move to the BRICS or if they start buying oil and other currencies and everything else, that might change. But for now, the dollar is still so tied to oil that it's propping the dollar up right now, and that's why kind of gold and silver seem to be going down. The truth is gold and silver hasn't changed much. It's that oil is up, and so the dollar's up against that, and it makes it look like gold and silver is cheaper. Is that the real assessment?
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. We've had a little bit more market manipulation with some of the bigger players, J.P. Morgan and others, in suppressing the prices. They did that very, very well at the end of January. J.P. Morgan got out the penny's bottom that day when it dropped 35%. They had a bunch of sell contracts they needed to get out of, and they really pushed the market, which is unfortunate because they can play in the market even though they're the market maker. So it's they get fined all the time, get fined billions all the time, and they settle outside of court, so no one ever really truly knows what's going on. But there is some manipulation in the market, but also, like you were saying, with the dollar strengthening, it will tend to go against, because as the dollar strengthens, what you measure that against, gold or silver, other things tend to go down, especially with this oil propping things up. But I don't see how the rest of these nations won't start trading amongst themselves and separating further and further from the dollar, as we've seen since Biden decided to take money from Russia, clawed back $300 billion from Russia, and in that process of doing that with the dollar, he's kind of weaponized the dollar, and the rest of the world's seeing that. So we're at that point where we need to kind of consider what we're doing. Consider, do we want to be in these wars? Or this is a big struggle. We're trying to keep the price below $100. I mean, I just went to the gas pump and I'm paying almost $5.50 for a gallon of diesel, which is nuts. Those are the prices we were talking about last week.
In fact, they say I just went to the gas station last night. It was $4.19 or something like that for a gallon of gas. Yeah. Right here in Utah, and they say in California it's $6 a gallon. That's not diesel; that's just regular gas. It's more than that for diesel in California.
Yeah. Like last week we were talking about it, and we were talking about these prices that we're seeing today, as California's prices last week. So prices have risen across the board on the fuel, and that's just going to bump everything up in cost. So there's a lot of things happening right now. Geopolitically and whatnot, but it is taking an effect on the silver and gold markets.
Well, and there's a delay, ladies and gentlemen, economically speaking, because remember, everything you receive, I don't care what it is, it's trucks or trains, and they all run on diesel. And now diesel's up, and away. And it's taken a little bit of time for that to result in when you get products and then they adjust prices at the store and everything else. You're going to kind of realize that it's a delayed reality, but it will go up, and there's no preventing it. And the problem is it goes up way faster than it goes down, Heath.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's prices they're upward sticky. So as they move up, that can happen quickly, but to come back down, they're fairly sticky on that return to normalizing things. And so as soon as this happened, no one had received a barrel of oil that was more expensive yet, but all the gas prices went up simultaneously. And so it's like the price moves quickly again in the upward direction, but it takes a lot of time to pull back down to normal levels of where it should be. So yeah.
And you kind of wonder, did the prices really go up because they had to go up, or did people just realize that's the trend and so they're going to take advantage of it and bump it up? Because really what's interesting is most of the oil that we use in America actually comes from America nowadays, right?
Yeah. Well, and this is where you've had a lot of people researching things with these price gouging that you've seen across, and the ability to blame, back in the day was the ability to blame COVID. It was the ability to blame all these tariffs, the ability to blame all these different things. But what was happening was, they were taking advantage of the ability to increase the price and not necessarily add value to what they were charging. It's to pad the pockets in a sense, and no one's purchased oil that's come from these more expensive barrels since this thing's happened, because it takes a while to get through the pipeline to get to the gas station and everything else. So no one's actually purchased that at the higher price. They're just automatically charging because they know they're going to purchase that at a higher price. So it's somewhat fair in this scenario. Other scenarios not as much, but yeah, they quickly do react because they know that cost is going to go up on their end and they're going to be paying higher down the road.
In the meantime, though, as far as I can tell, if silver and gold have dipped a bit, it's the time to grab, isn't it?
Exactly. You want to buy the dips. Consistently buying is the way you truly can stack. So whatever it is a month you want to put aside to a real savings account, in a sense, this is a great way of doing it. But when you see those dips, you have a little extra aside, go ahead and put that towards this. It's just a good way of dropping your cost averaging when you hit the dips. But so many people just they hesitate and wait for these dips that sometimes they miss them, and they're just buying it more expensive. So consistently buying technically is the best way of stacking. You would have been buying back in the $30 range, the $20 range, all the way up into the $100 plus range, and now back down to the 70s. But stacking's to stack, and it's not necessarily trying to predict the market, but buying the lows is a great way of doing it.
What does it take to get a Silver Eagle Silver Dollar 2026 today?
So you're about $77 to $78 on the Silver Eagles, the Silver Dollars, or the Silver Eagles. Right now, a silver dollar is going to run you about 58. A Morgan silver dollar, a peace dollar. But yeah.
And the reason why, just so everybody understands, the reason why the Silver Eagle is because there's a premium on them. They're brand spanking new and mint condition because they're 2026s. And then when you talk about these other silver dollars, they're not 1 troy ounce. They're less than a troy ounce of silver, and that's why they're less, right? Just so people understand.
Correct, yep. The Morgan dollar, a peace dollar, which is the old silver dollars, they're 0.77 of a troy ounce, and a Silver Eagle, it's a full troy ounce. So, yep.
Yeah, they say, 99.9 something?
Yep, so 39 is fine. Mm-hmm.
And why is it 39 is fine? Is it just because you can't make it pure, it's too soft, or what's the reason?
No, 39 is fine is it's a high quality purity. The next step is 49 is fine. To go above that, you're just starting to add too much cost to the production. So yeah, that's usually where the level is with most. Silver is 3.9's fine.
All right. It's just education, folks. I need to learn, and hopefully everybody can learn right along with me. What's the best buy now? If people are looking for things, what's plentiful and easy to get, and the kind of the recommendations right now?
Right now we have an abundance of 90% silver. So it's the old dimes, quarters, and halves. And due to how the market is, we're selling those actually below spot due to our excess. And so that's your best price right now across the board.
The point is, a lot of people turned them in, and so they got a lot of them, and they're below spot. When we get back, I'll ask what a dime costs, because a dime, Brian always talks about, it'll still buy a gallon of gas. Let's talk about that. We'll do it in seconds. You're watching and listening to the one and only Liberty Roundtable Live.
Introducing PrepStartsNow.com, your ultimate guide to readiness and peace of mind. We offer practical preparedness tools, training, and education to take your family's household readiness to the next level. Browse the prep shop for essential products, check out our planning guides, and stay informed with our prep blog. Visit PrepStartsNow.com and subscribe to our emails for exclusive offers, new products, and future events. Remember, preparedness begins with PrepStartsNow.com.
Former Sheriff Richard Mack recounts in his book The Proper Role of Law Enforcement how he came to realize while working as a beat cop how wrong the all-too-common orientation of police officers is when they think of their job as being to write tickets and arrest people. Richard Mack tells of his personal transformation from by-the-number cop to Constitution-conscious defender of citizen safety and freedoms. Learn what it really means to serve and protect. Purchase your copy at CSPOA.org. That's CSPOA.org.
Your call is being transferred to the listening ear. Listening professionals dedicated to hearing you.
Hello, listening ear. Who am I listening to?
Carrie, but I was calling my mom.
Yes, you were, but your mom was so busy she felt it was important for you to have someone who could completely focus on listening to you and you alone. So she subscribed to our service. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Well, I'm not quite sure.
Where to start? Well, I can listen to school issues like science projects. I can listen to boy problems, although that's an extra $3 per call because of the emotional drain on me. How about we start with how you wish you had made cheerleader?
I didn't try out for cheerleader.
This isn't, Mary?
Carrie. I'm Carrie.
Oh, sorry.
There is no substitute for a loving parent. And when you really listen, love is what they'll hear. From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. For more tips on strengthening your family, visit family.mormon.org.
All right, back with you live, my fellow Americans. We are in the middle of our Honest Money Report, brought to you by freewatercoinco.com. Heath Perkins with me, ladies and gentlemen. Honest Money Report, gold, $44.63.70. $4,463 basically. Silver, $69.54. And we're talking to Heath Perkins right now about, they always say a quarter buys you a gallon of gas. Man, a quarter will do a whole lot more than that. What's a quarter at right now in these, these junk silver, whatever they call them, dimes and quarters and halves?
Yeah, so a few different names. You got junk silver, you got 90%. And some people are calling it constitutional now. But a quarter is going for $11.77 if you wanted to buy one right now. Yep.
All right, so we always say a quarter will buy you a gallon of gas. It did back then, and it will today if it's honest money, gold and silver. But now, actually, a dime will buy you more than a gallon of gas, right?
Yeah, a dime's sitting at $4.71. So if it's gas, yes. If it's diesel, not quite yet, but it's close.
There you go. But a quarter will still buy you almost 2 gallons of diesel, right?
Oh, yeah, more than 2 gallons, yeah. It's interesting to see these prices in comparison to other things. There's actually a guy on YouTube who compares silver and cattle prices, and that's been interesting to watch throughout history. But yeah, interesting to see these comparisons.
Well, and if a quarter's $11 and something cents, you can still go to Five Guys and buy a double, and go ahead and get a nice burger for a quarter. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's real money. Everything we use to purchase things these days is just a substitute for gold and silver. So yeah, it's been interesting to see this business and how.
And that's what's funny. We're calling it down, but yet even though it's down, it's still up, because when you compare it to commodities, it holds its value even if the dollar gets manipulated, and if we play games, paper play on currency and paper play on gold and silver futures, and even with their paper play, the truth is when you compare it to commodities, you do very well indeed. Is the point. Heath, I got an interesting economic twist for you that I want to get your take on. It's kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
Number one, you've heard about the gig economy, which means everybody and their dog works 45 jobs, and you got to do whatever to make a living because the dollar's just not doing very well, right?
Yes.
Well, they got a new trend with the gig economy that I thought I'd bring to your attention. It's called microshifting. And the microshifting, it's called the microshifting revolution. What happens is workers redefine productivity by designing their work around their life. Imagine that. Okay, so a growing number of employees are demanding to jettison the typical 9 to 5 that Dolly Parton used to sing about, right?
Yeah.
In favor of microshifting. What that means is they break their work into very focused bursts. And those focused bursts let them prioritize personal needs throughout the day. And supporters say that it boosts productivity. It actually decreases downtime. They say it reflects a modern, results-driven approach to getting the job done, if you will. So the idea is that I might wake up and work from 6 to 10. Then I might take a big old long lunch break and go see a friend, go out to lunch, go to the DMV, update my driver's license, or go to the bank, or do whatever I got to do. And hey, man, 4 or 5 p.m., I'll roll back in and work for another 3 or 4 hours, and boom, I'm done for the day, and, et cetera. Or if people need to go kind of out of town on a Friday, then they're getting up at 6, they're working until, say, noon and then leaving. And that way they've got the afternoon and kind of a little bit of a longer weekend and everything else. And they're finding that this actually boosts productivity and lets people take care of their own lives at the same time. I think it's the next best thing since sliced bread, buddy. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. No, I do like the concept, and still being able to participate in the day-to-day of what you need to do with family life, and still provide for yourselves. A lot of people are going to start going this route. It's not. We were raised on the 9 to 5. We were raised underneath the Rockefeller education system that had us sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day. We were raised to have that mentality because the Rockefellers and that institution was trying to make workers, not really thinkers. So they needed their attention span to be on something for 8 straight hours, if not longer. And that system is just not functional. I mean, I remember when they were like, "Oh, computers are coming out. Computers will be great. We'll go to a 4-day work week because we'll be so productive." Well, what did businesses do? We didn't go to a 4-day work week. We went to a 7-day work week. With computers, you can work any day. And so the businesses took advantage of the productivity and the promise of, we would be so productive, we would actually decrease the amount of days we'd have to work. These little carrots that are at the end of the sticks, sometimes they just present themselves, and I've been seeing that. And so it's like, I personally, I would love to work 4 10s versus 3 8 or 5 8s.
And it's interesting. I just did on my technology show an AI study where all these people are starting to embrace AI, and all these executives and all these people that are embracing AI, they thought it would free up a bunch of time. And it turns out that those who use AI the most end up working the most hours. Yes, they get more done because AI helps them, but all they do is fill that time with more and more and more work, and it becomes this, I don't know what you want to call it, hamster wheel cycle that's dangerous. And they're saying you've got to back off on that. AI has its place, but you need to be really careful. And so this idea that high tech is going to save us and that computers are going to, free up all of our time and everything else, unless we demand it, unless we insist on it, it's a farce. And that's why the gig economy is starting to embrace this new idea, micro-shifting revolution, to say, listen, you're going to get me to work, and you're getting me to work hard. And actually, if I do micro bursts in the micro shift where I'm really focused and I'm going to just crank for 3 hours and then take a break, workers are actually producing more for their employers by doing this, but yet they're freeing up more time for their personal life. If I need to go to the dentist, it's easy for me to go if I do this. If I work this 9 to 5, hey, it's very hard to go to the dentist, right? Or it's very hard to do this or that. It's very hard for me to pick up the groceries for my wife, or it's very hard to. And so people are realizing this actually is a better plan, and there's more productivity with shorter, highly focused stints, Heath.
Yeah, no, and this makes sense because there's so the leading country when it comes to education is Finland, the last report that I was looking at. And what they do is they have 3 to 4 hours worth of school that they do per day, but yet they destroy the rest of the nations in test scores. But they go there with that hyper focus. They do short bursts, but they truly let them focus on what it is they're interested in. So if they're interested in a certain thing, awesome, they'll go down that path and far exceed anything the teacher could help them learn. And then they realize that if they let the students go down the path they're interested in, eventually they'll come back around because, hey, I'm not quite as good with math on these things, so I need to learn these types of math. And then they just learn a math that's far more advanced than they would because they're driven, because they have a want to learn.
Yeah, it's relevant topic math, so to speak. Hey, if you want to know math and you're into gold and silver, you're going to learn what percentages are silver in this coin and that coin. And pretty soon your math's just going to come secondary to your love for honest money. Same thing with radio and TV for me. A lot of the skills that come with that, whether I like that skill or not, hey, I might not be into that skill, but since it relates specifically to what I want to do, then pretty soon that skill becomes secondary and becomes part of my nature, and I learn it quickly and easily because it's what I want to do. And I think we need to learn that in our jobs, in our schooling, in our everything in life, because people excel. My son loves statistics. When he was a kid, he used to do it for sports, and I used to kind of think it was a waste of time. Now he's got a master's degree and works for a university and makes big money, and he laughs at me. Well, there you go, right? Proves the point.
Well, my example is back in high school, there was this girl who was deaf, and I really liked her, and I wanted to date her, and so I went to the sign language class. It was the 4th term of the year. 3 terms already gone by, and the teacher's like, hey, you can't join our class because you don't know all these words. If you want to join our class, you've got 2 days to pass off all these words we've been learning for the last 3 terms, and I did it in 2 days. So motivating factor, if you want to learn something, you're going to learn it. And I learned in 2 days what her class learned in 3/4 of a school year in words. But that's what motivation does. When you want to learn it, you will learn it, and you'll learn it better and faster than anything a teacher can put right in front of you. And so with that being there, that's the best way of doing it. But when you're motivated, saying, hey, I can go to lunch today, if I get this done, do it. But, the motivation's not quite there. If, I got to put my 8 hours in, I got to clock in, I got to punch in, punch out. You lose a bit of that motivation because you don't have the flexibility of taking care of the day-to-day things that sometimes do come up. So this
a lot of times people don't like political issues, and I get why, because it's nothing but a fight fest like a Jerry Springer show. But when you learn morality, and you learn integrity, and you learn honor, and you learn sacrifice, and you learn all these things that the founding fathers gave their lives and their fortunes and their sacred honor and everything for, pretty soon it's not political anymore. It's like, hey, these people are heroes. I want to be like them. I want to learn what they know. I want to be as educated as they were. And pretty soon history comes alive, and then you start learning about honest money and constitutional currency, and pretty soon, hey, economics isn't bad. I like to learn about the McDonald's Big Mac Index, and I want to know about and you start to hear all these cool things, and you're going, wow, this ain't so bad after all. I kind of like this.
Yeah. No, it's figuring out what you love to do that, and then everything else will be added to it, whether it's the math side of things or the reading side of things or the writing side of things or whatever it is, it will just come. And Finland has shown that with their students. They don't go to school for more than 3 to 4 hours a day.
We're flat out of time, Heath. Heath Perkins with us, everybody. Thank you so much. freewatercoinco.com. Thanks, Heath.
You're welcome, Sam. We'll see you next week.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you want the Honest Money Report. It's every Thursday on Liberty Roundtable Live. I'm Sam Bushman. LibertyRoundtable.com. LibertyNewsRadio.com. Donate. We need every penny, folks. Please support news the networks refuse to use. I'm Sam Bushman. God save the Republic of the United States of America.